The workshop rests under a veil of twilight, its edges softened by the golden glow spilling through a cracked window. You feel the cool, worn floorboards beneath your feet, each plank etched with the quiet stories of years gone by. A faint rustle stirs the air, the gentle brushing of sawdust as it dances lightly across the workbench, carried by a breeze that slips through the open door. The distant hum of crickets weaves into the stillness, a steady pulse against the soft creak of settling wood. Your fingers graze a smooth, polished surface, the grain of oak whispering resilience against your skin, while the air carries a subtle scent of faint sawdust, mingling with the earthy warmth of old tools resting in their places. Shadows shift as the last light bends through the glass, painting fleeting patterns on the walls, now a flicker, now a glow, inviting you to breathe deeper, slower. Somewhere beyond the shelves, a memory lingers, its shape undefined yet familiar, like the echo of a voice you've always known, hovering just out of sight. The breeze brushes your cheek again, cooler now, tugging at the edges of your awareness, stirring a quiet ache for something once held close. The workshop holds its breath with you, its textures cradling your stillness, the roughness of a hammer's handle, the chill of metal bolts scattered nearby, the distant clink of a tool settling into place. That memory, that presence, drifts nearer with each passing moment, a soft promise woven into the rustling air, waiting to unfold. There's a heaviness here, isn't there? A quiet ache that settles in your chest when you look across this workshop, once alive with the rhythm of your hands. You remember the weight of a saw moving through cedar, the steady hum of effort as shavings curled and fell, a job well done, a purpose shaped by every cut. Now, the tool sits silent, and that satisfaction feels like a shadow slipping through your fingers. Maybe it's the morning you stood here, sunlight streaming in, proud of a table finished just right, legs even, surface gleaming, only to realize later how rare those moments have become. Or the evenings when a chair took form, each joint tight and true, and you'd step back, dust on your palms, knowing it would hold someone's weight for years. That ease is harder now, your grip not as sure, the hours not as kind. You see it in the mirror sometimes, the lines etched deeper, the fatigue that lingers after a day's work. There's a longing for the days when strength flowed without question, when the air buzzed with the pride of making something whole. And yet, amid the stillness, a whisper brushes your mind, a voice, soft and steady, calling from the edges of this space. It's been there all along, hasn't it? In the creak of the floor, the faint scent of sawdust, hinting at something waiting to be remembered, something that still knows the man you are. The doubt weighs heavy, the nostalgia heavier still, but that voice grows closer, threading through the quiet, promising it's not gone, just resting, just beyond the next breath. And then he's here, your confidant from memory, stepping softly into the workshop like he's never left. His voice is warm, low, a gentle hum against the faint clatter of tools settling in the dusk. "You've done good work here," he says, and the air shifts, carrying the scent of faint sawdust and the distant tang of linseed oil. He leans against the workbench, his shadow familiar, and you feel the smooth wood under your fingers as he points to a day long past. "Remember that old oak shelf?" he asks, and suddenly you're there. The rasp of sandpaper fills your ears, the wood's grain blooming under your touch, the afternoon light spilling gold across your hands. "Took you 3 tries to get the angle right," he chuckles, and the sound of his laughter blends with the rustle of leaves brushing the ground outside. Then he shifts, and another memory unfurls. The rocking chair you built, the one that creaked just so, its runners smooth as you tested it under the cool shade of the porch. You feel the breeze on your skin, hear the faint scrape of a chisel as he says, "You swore it'd hold forever, and it has." The suspense begins to unravel now, threading through his words as he leans closer, the scent of pine lingering. "And that toolbox," he murmurs, "the one you carved your initials into, remember the night you finished it?" The air grows thick with it, the clink of a latch, the weight of pride as you brushed sawdust from your shirt, the stars sharp overhead. He's painting it all back for you, each stroke vivid, each sound a tether. His presence, a steady hand guiding you through the workshop of your past, where every effort still echoes, waiting to be reclaimed. "Feel that ache," your confidant whispers, his voice a soft anchor amid the workshop's hum. "It's not the end, it's the mark of everything you've built." He rests a hand near yours, and the warmth of his words seeps in, slow and sure. You've poured yourself into this place, and it holds you still, every cut, every polish. The faint rustling of leaves brushes the ground outside, a reminder of time turning, and he nods. That satisfaction you miss, it's not lost, it's resting, like a tool waiting for its moment. His tone lifts, steady and bright. You've got strength, yet maybe quieter now, but deeper, truer. Look at these hands, they've shaped more than wood, they've shaped a life. The suspense unwinds fully here, in the memory he unveils. That night with the toolbox, when you sat back, sweat on your brow, and felt the world still for a moment, a job well done, a quiet triumph under the stars. "That's still in you," he says, and the gentle warmth of a breeze curls through the window, carrying peace. Life bends us, sure, but it doesn't break what's real. What you've made endures in the things you've crafted, in the man you've become. He pauses, letting the distant echo of a hammer's tap settle in the air. Time doesn't steal, it refines. You're not less for the years, you're more layered, like the grain in that oak you worked so well. The workshop glows faintly now, shadows softening, and his wisdom unfolds wider. Rest isn't surrender, it's trust. Trust that what you've done matters, that it carries you even now. The cool touch of the workbench steadies you, the scent of sawdust, a quiet hymn, and he murmurs, "Let it ease you tonight. You've earned that calm." His voice weaves hope into the stillness, a grounding thread pulling you toward sleep. The workshop fades to a hush now, the last light slipping away as your confidant's presence softens, like a breath easing into the dusk. The air holds a lingering trace of sawdust, faint and comforting, as the smooth wood beneath your fingers grows warm with the memory of your hands. Outside, the crickets hum a slow lullaby, their song blending with the gentle rustle of leaves brushing the ground, a rhythm that cradles you. "You've carried this place well," he says, his voice a tender echo fatting across the shelves, "and it'll carry you now." The distant clink of a tool settling fades too, the breeze brushing your skin one last time, cool and kind. The scene stretches wide, a workbench bathed in quiet, tools resting in their places, the faint glow of twilight pooling on the floor, and you feel it all settle, a serenity shaped by every moment you've spent here. "We've walked this far together," he murmurs, his words drifting like dust in the air, "and it's enough for tonight." The journey lingers in your chest, those days of effort, the pride, the calm, and it folds into this stillness, a blanket woven from every job well done. "Tell me of a moment that lingers in your heart," he whispers, his voice nearly gone now, leaving only the workshop's embrace, the textures, the sounds, the faint warmth of a space that knows you. The shadows deepen, the air grows still, and you're left with a tender goodbye, a peace that invites you to close your eyes and rest, held by the whispers of all you've made.